Board of Education meeting. We are here at OVS. Let's start with our Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all rise, please.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much and welcome again. I will turn our roll call over to our Vice President, Ms. McIntyre, please.
Okay. First up, Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Ms. Stewart is excused. Dr. Campbell-Voitel, Treasurer, also excused. Mr. Mazurek.
Here.
Ms. Meyer.
Here.
Ms. Prescott is excused. And Lisa McIntyre, I am here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I do want to also acknowledge a couple other folks here in the audience. As always, we're the Board of Education. We're joined here tonight by our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. R.J. Weber, and the COLT team, Central Office Leadership team here in front. And I also want to recognize two candidates that I see for Northville Public Schools Board of Education, Ron Frazier and Jenna Mabry.
Wonderful.
Am I pointing at what it is?
Oh, and then me.
Oh, and Lisa.
I'm also a candidate.
You are also
I'm here. Yeah, sorry. I forgot that I'm. Yes.
No,
I know that I'm here, but.
Yes. All right, that's it. Let's get into the adoption of our agenda. Ms. McIntyre, please.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 14 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support. All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre, supported by Mr. Mazurek. Any discussion, questions, opposition?
No.
All right, looks good to me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda passes. Thank you for that. That brings us to number 5, our consent resolutions. Again, I'll hand it over to Ms. McIntyre, our Vice President, please.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 15 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. This includes 5A, minutes of the August 13th Board of Education meeting, 5B, minutes of the August 13th closed session meeting of the Board of Education, 5C, second reading and adoption of policy 2001 and policy 4114. 5D, overnight and or out-of-state field trip request. That includes D1, Northville Rowing Club Youth Nationals in Sarasota, Florida from June 2nd through the 8th, 2025. D2, Northville Rowing Club SRAA National Championships in Camden, New Jersey or Oak Ridge, Tennessee from May 21st to the 26th, 2025. D3, Northville Rowing Club Regatta in Chattanooga, Tennessee from October 31st to November 4th, 2024. D4, Northville Rowing Club Haxton Regatta in Columbus, Ohio from October 25th to the 27th, 2024. D5, NHS Boys Tennis Tournament in Holland, Michigan from August 23rd to the 24th, 2024. D6, Hillside 7th grade trip to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio on October 25th, 2024. E, did I say that correct? Renewal of 5E, renewal of freshly made pizza contracts with Domino's, Papa John's, and Livonia Italian Bakery for freshly made pizza for the 2024-25 school year. 5F, middle school pay to participate fees, as seen in the board memo. And
excellent. Thank you. Any support for that?
Support.
All right, so Ms. Meyer. So we have a motion properly presented again by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Ms. Meyer, I heard. These are consent resolutions, so folks who are tuning in, these are minutes of previous meetings that we've all had a chance to review. Prior to this meeting, we have a number of field trip requests and sporting events, tournaments, and that sort of thing that we've all had a chance to digest and vet before the meeting today. There are a couple items here around pizza contracts and middle school pay to participate. I'm pretty sure that Finance Committee has seen and vetted those, both of those. So just so folks know that we're giving those items proper attention and vetting as well. Any questions about any of those?
We eat a lot of pizza, first of all. And secondly, I just want to, regarding the middle school pay-to-play participant fees, I understand they have to go up and the busing increase pricing. I just hope that any family who finds it difficult to play, I'd hate to see for this increase or any time that they don't participate because there's financial barriers, and that they reach out to the school so they can help them.
Good point. The athletic department does maintain a kind of a scholarship program, a separate fund that does assist. And every year we have a handful of students who have that need, and we sure meet that need so they can participate.
Great.
And Karen, to your point, that's something I'd like to see the board talk about and explore is increasing that opportunity. One of the things that we offer kids well beyond the classroom are fine arts and athletics, and those things all have costs to them. And we can't make an assumption that everybody can afford to do it. So I'm grateful the athletic department does that. Perhaps we can take a look at where those other opportunities might be to help ameliorate the cost of some of these things that keep our kids from doing it.
The other factor is we did keep the family amount the same. We didn't increase that. So while an individual student might have to pay a little bit more, if you have multiples, the family limit is still remained. We capped that and we did not increase that. So that's kind of our one piece.
I think it's important to mention again too that our busing cost for middle school sports is like $86,000, right? That's a significant cost, right? When we think about, we have the pay to participate. Yes, that is part of that, but that's a big number.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we discussed that too last year about the amount of, we're spending over $250,000 in busing. And if we can figure out how to get one or two more bus drivers, we can start using our buses to run our own and save some money. And if we can do that, we can try to offset some of these things. So it's a goal for this year to try to get there if we can hire some more people, but it could help ameliorate this in the future.
Right. Yep.
All right, any other questions, good commentary? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our consent resolutions passed. That brings us to our communications, agenda item number 6, I believe. In Ms. Stewart's absence, I'll handle that. So we did have several communications to our email address at npsboe@northvilleschools.org. I think we received those last week and we didn't have any very, very recent ones this week. All right. That's it.
Can I note, so part of my stumbling on some of the items here is that we have this new agenda item type as action item.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if they can take that out because it makes it too cluttered.
Yeah.
If they did an update or what. But yeah.
So I wondered if some of that is because our agenda that is public facing has a little bit more information on it. Is that,
No,
do you know?
I don't
Okay.
think so. I think it's just something that they've added that I can.
Okay.
probably add.
Okay, cool. I was trying to figure out, what is the action item? Does that mean we have to take an action on it? Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I thought it would be under communication, so.
All right, no, excellent. All right, that brings us to number 7, at least on my agenda here, our superintendent's report.
Right on. So Ms. Peck had to step out. My guess is kind of the later notice of us not having the number we may need in closed session. She's probably in discussion around that right now. So I'll go ahead and until she gets back, take it from here. So today was really a great day in the district and one that brings me so much pride. And the team I get to serve beside here to my left are 800 employees. So today the day started out, arrived at the high school around 6 and did an interview with Channel 4 on cell phones, which should run today with Priya Mann, and just talk to her about what we're doing from a policy standpoint, and the belief that our job is to educate kids on how to use or not use things. And so had that interview, and then we went into a 45-minute welcome back, and there's a person back here in the corner that I think Brian will be talking about shortly. So I randomly, at the end of it, chose 5 of our new 30 hires. And I brought them on stage to do a circle about why public education or why teaching. And I swear, and I made fun of myself because I think people in the room are probably thinking, okay, Weber handpicked these people, he prepped them. Not at all. The look in their eyes was like, wait, he wants to do what? And 5 of them came up, and it was like out of central casting. And I stopped in to talk to Rebecca and Brian today individually and thank them, because if that's 5 random people that chose to go on stage, and the other 25, I'm sure, have that ethos, that heart, that desire to teach. Rebecca and Brian and everyone involved in the hiring process has done exceptionally well for us, and I want to thank both of you for that. And you, from Moraine, as a youngster, going to Moraine as a teacher, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here, but it really was a full circle moment. Get it? Circle? Yeah. And so that was fantastic. And then Aaron put together a day for all of our staff where the 9 tools that the district has purchased that Aaron and his team have vetted and done the research on, brought a really amazing presenter in. The engagement level was high. Our staff got trained in how to use these tools in ways. And it just, folks, now that I've been here 2 years and I know people, I maybe wondered if they would like be into it and be curious. Loved it. And so to me, that's where we'd often don't see the work that people do, like Aaron, the phone calls, all of those things to get us to that spot. But that was heartening. And then today I also went to the cross country meet at Cass Benton. Really muggy day for that. But so proud of our kids in finding that joy within there. So today, it's been a good day, and talked about our EAP program and about how useful that is. I handed out probably 100 EAP cards, and the people who took them and snapped them up were so curious about how it works. And I said, there's no copay to it. It's a phone call. And so they were really interested in that as well. So it was great to have everyone in one room together. We didn't do it last year because of our RP training. The energy was fantastic, and I'm really grateful to our staff, our teachers, and everybody. So that was today. With that said, Ms. Peck is back. Rebecca, I think we have an update on enrollment. And I know what you're doing right now. And I said to the board when you stepped out, because of kind of a late piece on board members and how that might impact our later meeting. But we'll go ahead and take a look at numbers right now. And then we'll go ahead and get into President Wilson. Some really amazing action items coming down the pipe here on bringing talent in. And Ms. McIntyre, Vice President McIntyre, I'm grateful for you being there this morning. Any observations you had from the morning together?
Gosh, so much energy and just so much enthusiasm for the new year. I really appreciated the vulnerability, right? The willingness to get up on stage was really awesome. And I also love just the support, right? I was thinking about the new staff member that got a little tearful up there, and it was I don't know, you just feel like the group around was giving her just a big embrace, and just the staff behind. It was really cool. I was really glad I was able to make it for that.
And I didn't get to the last slide, and I told Mike Rimbell came after the meeting, and he purposely brought something to show me that was really cool. But I was able to show him the final slide, and I'll send the slide deck to the board on Friday. But the picture, when you see it, I want you to look at, is there's a young man, and he's playing, what is it, an E flat? Mike knows. It's one of 6 instruments in the world. It's made out of rosewood and silver. He bought it some 25 years ago with Band Booster dollars. Kids get to play it. The thing is worth something like $75,000. It's not what he bought it for. But rather than like putting it in a case, I love the fact that I'm rolling by his classroom one day and there's a kid using a beautiful piece of really art to make art. And the final quote, Lisa, that I wanted to share with you that I didn't get to share with the room and the rest of the people is I chose this quote for everyone today. It's, may you be strengthened by yesterday's rain, walk straight in tomorrow's wind, and cherish each moment of the sun today. And that is from a saying from the Ojibwe tribe, which of course is the native land that we're on right now in our region. And, it's been a summer of mature directness for a lot of people in this district and a lot of good hard work. And it was just a joy to spend it with the staff and see their smiling faces. So again, thank you. Ms. Peck.
Okay. So the office enrollment has been extremely busy.
Yeah.
They enrolled from the last time we chatted together. They enrolled 54 more students.
Yeah, I am baffled by this number. This is just incredible good news. I actually don't want to say anything to jinx it.
Right. So this is an update of how it kind of washes out. There are some watch points that we have, and Brian and I have been having some conversations with principals about what that's going to look like in our buildings. There's really one building that is causing some concern, and as I walk through this, you'll see, and it's really one building, one class, one grade level. So this isn't, it's not all over the place. So Ammerman, and we can walk through this. as much or as little as you want. But Ammerman is holding nice and steady with their class sizes. Moraine, they are also holding well with their class sizes, have lower class sizes in the lower L, a little bit higher as you go up on the spectrum or on the grade level. Ridgewood, we've got that 1-2 that we're watching right now and working with our new principal, Amy, over at Ridgewood. Silver Springs is looking nice and even right now. Silver Springs, as you probably remember from last year, is our most transient, I guess. Those numbers go up and down a little bit more than other buildings. Alps is holding steady. It hasn't changed. I did get notice today that we had a late ad. Somebody that came in late and was able to meet the requirements. They haven't accepted yet. And then we have another student that's returning from a local district, a local gifted and talented.
So Ms. Peck, would that Alps number, could go to 85 then with those two?
You could.
All right, thank you.
TC is that spot right now, and Principal Jewett and I have been missing each other. If you look over at fifth grade, that fifth grade has just exploded, and it's a good thing.
Yeah,
It's a good thing, but we want to make sure. We were working today to see if we can give some relief to that class. But I do need to talk with him. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing this late in the game, because adding a section has so many implications. Students already have their teachers, open house is happening tomorrow night. They're going to fall in love. Also, we have humanities. That schedule is pretty precarious, and it's built with a lot of care and thought. So, we look at these things very seriously, which means that when we do go to add a section, we verify it with every single family, whether they're coming or not. Because just today, I was talking to one of the principals, not about this, but she was like, I'm so glad that, I happened to call this parent to ask a question about their child returning. And then she just was, gosh, we moved. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I needed to tell you. And that totally understandable, with technology today and AI and all the good stuff that Aaron loves and we all love, people make some assumptions. So sometimes that happens. So we'll be checking in and making sure that families are coming before we move sections around. Winchester, again, having lots of good conversations with Kelly, and she's having conversations with her team as well. On how to manage the staffing and the numbers there. Overall, our Hillside Middle School went up. Now I'm starting to get nervous. Now, middle school, high school, those numbers are, they're soft numbers until they're not, right? Until really the school year starts is when we really know.
When was the due date for the electronic registration, which I know you have to go in every year?
Yeah.
Is that already passed?
Transition day.
Yeah, transition day, but
Okay.
we still have, there's, imagine there's,
I know this just,
Probably
it's
5,000
such a
families
good
that
looking
have to
number,
do it.
but I'm leery because I know we've always had, to see last minute drops at the high school of 20, 30 kids
No.
is not unusual.
not at
At
all.
this point, it's still a little bit, it's too early to be locked in and say
Right.
that's the number.
Yep.
Okay?
So right now, we're 105 up from last year.
Double.
So we'll keep watching that,
this
and
has been-
next Tuesday will be a big day for us.
Yeah, and if this is not all attributable to Young Fives. Young Fives certainly helped, but this is
did.
kind of across the board.
In the past 2 years, Rebecca, and in the past 9 to 10 months, Darby, and of course Katie, but I really believe that our communications approach as well has helped us in the long term. I think things like the mailer going home, the 2 years of real concerted telling our story. And we have every day we have an amazing story to tell. And I couldn't be prouder of the work of this team. What the work we do is built on the foundation of others and so many people before us. But I can also say, having 2 years and the privilege of working with these people, they go to the end of the earth to make sure our parents and kids get what they need. I know Miss Brock met with a parent today, I think for an hour and a half. I mean, tell me an industry where you're going to go and get an hour and a half meeting, bespoke meetings regularly in there. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm proud of our team for that. And Mike, gosh darn it, I have to do this to you right now, but how could you be so wrong about numbers? You said we were down. I'm joking. It's the joke Mike and I have here is that I think education might be one of the only industries where you get in trouble for growing a fund balance. Otherwise, the private sector seems to really enjoy that.
Well, we were sitting on the other side of this last year. We were predicting more students than we
Yeah.
actually got.
Yep.
So
This
it's an art, not a science.
this is roughly $1.3 million
And Jim,
benefit if it holds.
and Jim said it 2 weeks ago. It might not hold, but what you said when we had a meeting where, frankly, I'll say it, I was a bit disappointed about some of the hand wringing and the rush to feeling like things were coming apart. And you said it, Jim. Like, this is every week. Every week we just have to keep an eye on it. We have to. It's going to kind of go up, down, sideways. And Rebecca, she's on it every day. And I'm glad, Rebecca, that you've been seeing numbers go up rather than down.
Indeed.
So
That's great.
to everyone in this district and the teachers, administrators who make this an attractive place to be, thank you, sincerely.
Wouldn't you love to know if that connections mailer, people were like, actually, I would like to switch from whatever school and I'm going to come to Northville.
We have a heck of a story to tell.
We do.
And we need to keep telling it.
Yep.
Honestly, there's, if interest rates come down, you could start to see families movement. And when there's household sales, we tend to pick up kids because you got a lot of couples that living in big houses and all the kids are off at college, and how long do they keep that? So there's opportunities for us. This is one of the best years I've ever seen at this point in time.
Is there any opportunity for an interim report? I mean, do we actually have a meeting next Tuesday? I don't think we do. The 10th, yeah. Well, just some sort of interim report by email or
Absolutely.
something, right? Just so we can keep,
Yep.
there's a couple
And
numbers.
maybe a Friday
everybody
update. You don't have to give us the whole thing, but just give us a
Yeah,
rough
maybe
idea if
just
anything's
total.
changed.
Yeah, I will.
This is
By
just-
by Friday, we'll know. We'll already start making some of those connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dropping students that
Yeah.
aren't coming.
And I think, when I was at the cross-country meet today, Rebecca, and you could help me with this, but I was talking to Brian Samalski, Region 11 AD of the Year, head of the AD Athletic Program Michigan. He said we are one of only maybe us and Livonia, Plymouth maybe, who have not started school yet. So I'm just wondering if this is actually a better sign even, or a worse sign. I don't know. You have to explain it to me. The fact that so many schools are already in session now around us with that. I'm not sure, but that was interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how the community feels about that. But that could be another reason for hope that if kids have indeed or went to other places to go, they're there.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions on enrollment? All right. Thank you so much. Well done. All right.
I love it when you're wrong, Mike. God, this is one of those ones I want to celebrate. Doesn't happen very often, but I love it.
So we celebrated Mike last week. I'm going to honor Mike because Mike means everything to the team to my left in this room, I know, and I'm sure to many of you as well. But I want to respect his privacy and his desire for that. But, 14 years of service here, served under 3 superintendents, but really served, more importantly, thousands of kids. And, 30 years in the private sector and adding value at Ford Motor Company, which is near and dear to my heart. Not only does he oversee the business office, but he genuinely treats his team with such kindness and grace. And I would be a flat out liar to not say that a bunch of us are going to be having a hard time Friday afternoon. And we love him. And don't worry, he's not walking out with a big bag of money like that. That's just it goes apropos with his job on that piece of it. But sincerely, I know we talked a lot last week. Friday, I want to thank Rebecca Peck and Steve Banchero. They put together a lovely lunch at the Fog Street facility. And, we had folks that I haven't seen in years come by. And that was really, really great. And it was a pleasure to meet your wife. when we did the podcast, I can tell you now, I called her.
Yeah.
And I had a brief conversation with her, and I shared it with her. If you haven't listened to it yet, it's just a testament to me of love of his wife, of your wife, and of grace and gratitude, because you're wired to work, and that she knows it, but you have definitely committed your life to getting after it for your own kids and for her. So it was a pleasure meeting Deb as well. And I just want to say thank you from more than the bottom of my heart. Like, you've taught me so much in 2 years, and I will be eternally grateful to you personally.
Thank you.
So thank you.
And, thanks to the board. And I don't, we've been through this.
Enough, he
I
said.
do want to say, since this is public, I do want to thank the community, because this, part of the reason this district the way it is the continuous support that we receive from the community in a lot of different ways. Not only financial, but just participation, involvement, just a lot of different ways. And it certainly it alleviates the pressure on the financial situation here. So, again, I just want to thank the community for all of their support. We've had a couple millages, some sinking fund millages, and we've had an operating millage, and we've had 2 bond programs. And in all cases, overwhelming support from the community. So I just wanted to say thank you to them, since this is public. So, and thank you to the community as well.
On that note, I know that we said a lot of this last week, but just to keep it short, I just want to say again, since we're in public, I've literally never met someone who has, in my, whatever it's been, 20 or 30 years of working, anyone who is more of a professional and more of a gentleman. And I've had such a great experience working with you, and I just think you're such a class act, and it's going to be really hard to find anyone like you. I don't think they make them like you anymore, so thank you. Yeah.
I started listening to the podcast, and my AirPods wouldn't connect, so I'm like walking around through my neighborhood listening like this. I probably look like a goofball, but I really appreciated your story on that podcast, and talking about your time at Purdue and what that meant to you, and thinking about that time in history, and just coming back to Michigan and what that has meant to you. And I really appreciated that you took the time to do that for our community also, so we could know that part of the legacy too, that is the rich story of Mike Zopp. So enjoyed working with you so much.
All right, anything else? Dr. Weber?
Yes, sir.
All right, that brings us to the first opportunity for public comment tonight. I don't see any green cards here. And this is our first of 2 opportunities. Going once, going twice. All right. There's another one coming up later. That brings us to something that we're all really excited about. I won't take any of the thunder. Ms. Meyer.
Yes, I'd like to bring forward motion 16, that the board award a probationary 2-year contract to Devin Kling for the 2024-25 school year as presented.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer and supported by Mr. Mazurek. Ms. Peck, I believe.
Indeed. I'm going to start by saying that Devin Kling wanted to be here tonight. He really wanted to be here tonight. He had a vacation planned with his wife's family in another state, and I don't get involved in that. I said, you need to do that. So he will be here on the 10th. So you have an opportunity to meet him. But in the meantime, we did want to move forward with this hire because there's lots of moving parts as we are hiring somebody that is currently working in a school district as the assistant superintendent of operations and finance. So here we are tonight. So let me tell you a little bit about the process. I sent you a memo, so I won't go through it in detail, but suffice to say, this was probably the lengthiest process that we have had, and we had more eyes and ears and just conversations with more stakeholders in this community than I have probably for any other position. Maybe not the superintendent, but that was your thing. So we had we had folks from our offices, our buildings, folks at work, Steve Banchero, Deb Converse, Carrie Morfino were very involved in this process. We interviewed a lot of people and narrowed it down to this candidate.
And Rebecca, I think you bringing in the gentleman from Wayne Risa in that kind of special piece was really a brilliant idea.
Yeah. So, none of us have the knowledge, skills, and abilities that Mike Zock has, or folks in those positions. So we recruited in the Wayne County Risa Deputy Superintendent of Finance, who has sat in Mike's chair before too. So that was super helpful for us as we were narrowing that field down. And he absolutely approves of this candidate as well for Northville. But let me tell you a little bit about Devin Kling. Devin Kling, he's currently an Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, and he's been in that role for 2 years in a neighboring district. Before that, he was in Plymouth Canton Community Schools. He was not the assistant superintendent in Plymouth Canton. He was rising up to that position, and each of his positions that I'm going to tell you about was the next step into the current position that he is in and is also taking here. He worked also for Wayne Westland for a year, and I can't wait for him to tell you the story, because right before that, he was working in Memphis Community Schools, which is in Michigan. And maybe some of you knew that. I did not. It is in the Thumb, which is where this candidate is from. Before that, he also was in the private sector in finance. And he'll tell you more of the story. It's just so interesting. He was a young person right out of college working in the finance field and loving numbers, because he's a self-proclaimed introvert, right, with numbers. If he has a spreadsheet, he's in his happy place. But he just wanted to do more. He comes from an education family. He comes from a family with service included in their careers. And he was just kind of talking to a friend about one day at a restaurant, and just talking to a friend about, I wish there was something that I could do that would give me more bucket filling. And his friend said, have you ever thought about school finance? And his question that many people have was, school finance? Well, what would they need? And then his career launched into that. And he started in that Memphis community and then moved into the Southeast Michigan area. So one of the things I appreciate about Devin, certainly his depth of knowledge of all things finance, accounting. He gets down into the weeds, but he also has a very high level view through our conversations and through the reference checking that was done with him. He has his undergraduate degree in business administration and finance, right? That makes sense. The part that was really interesting to me, and we dug into that, was what he chose for his master's degree. And he chose to get a master's in educational leadership from Michigan State University, which tells us very clearly that he's committed to the business. And he wanted to understand what's important about this business. And what better way to do that than to go and get your master's degree, particularly from Michigan State University, which has a great ed leadership program. He's so eager to be part of Northville Public Schools, and we're super eager to have him part of Northville Public Schools. We were talking about those home sales. Somebody said something up on the panel today. Maybe with those home sales, the interest rates going down. I do believe that is something that the Kling family would like to see as well. Without further ado, on behalf of Central Office Administration, Colt, and the Superintendent, I would like to recommend Devin Kling to serve as the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, beginning in the 24-25 school year.
Could I just say one thing? I know this is kind of unusual situation, but I've known Devin since when he was at Plymouth. And since he took over the CFO position at Novi, he and I have met on, even before I planned my retirement, we sat and we met. He's very eager to learn, and I think when he indicated that he was going to apply here, and I saw him, I was quite frankly very relieved,
And I think Devin will just continue, I think, building and growing. And I don't think we could have had a better candidate to come into that position. So I think, the team did a great job in getting him here. And, anything I can do certainly to support Devin, I will. So he'll be a great hire.
I'll say I was so surprised when I walked into Tuscan that day and you were there,
Yeah.
right? I was like, okay, I wonder who Mike's meeting with. And I was like,
Right.
I also felt so relieved that day
Right.
because I kind of got the sense then that he was one of the candidates. And as he introduced himself to me and talked about, just his background and where he was from, and he just seemed, like a younger version of you, minus, some experience and all of that. But I could tell his work ethic, his commitment to kids and just education. It was,
Yeah.
And
it was a really nice chance.
And I can say from a district that that he's coming from, the amount of texts that I got the day that it was announced there from people I really respect deeply about how he treats people and how respectful he is, and that his team is really important to him. And Mike sensed that from the beginning, but Mike's love of his team is real, and he knows that they're the ones who, right? We know they keep the wheels going. So, it just, I think the upside there is extraordinary.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he just sounds like a great candidate. He's probably going to have plenty of Tuesdays, so we'll forgive him for not making it tonight. He's probably going to have plenty of Tuesdays in his future.
Yeah, enjoy your Tuesday, free Tuesday while you can.
I will tell you that he's going to start on October 1st. That's the plan, pending this approval, obviously.
Okay.
And I
I
believe
wondered
he'll come
that
on the
too.
10th here.
He will. He'll be
Okay.
here on the 10th to meet you.
Okay.
His audit is happening the week of the 23rd.
Okay.
So we wanted to leave some bandwidth for that. Our audit is happening next week. So.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Just a couple points from me. I mean, I really appreciate the due diligence. This is a difficult hire. This is tough shoes to fill. Your words around this being such a lengthy process and kind of doing the vetting and due diligence there. I appreciate that. Love to hear, a story like it's bucket filling to him, right? His comes from a family of educators. I mean, that's what you got to have your heart in this business, I think. And Mike, your endorsement, it just says a lot to me as well. So, I mean, you can tell where I'm leaning on this vote.
I'll just say, I love his background, right? Him being at Wayne Westland when things were starting to have some problems, he kind of understands situations, has a really good background with that, having gone through that. Plymouth Canton, which is a huge district, right? He's, I don't know, it's 15,000 kids, 16,000 kids, right? He's got a lot of experience. And then Nova, I mean, he understands the area. He understands some of our competitive districts and what the expectations are of the communities. I mean, I know nothing about, like you said, Memphis, and didn't know Memphis was in Michigan. I'll have to go look that one up on the map, find out where that one's at. But great background.
Yeah. All right, shall we make this official?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations to Mr. Devin Kling.
Even though he's not here,
That's right.
round of applause.
All
Well, that's
right.
great to know and have. All right, onward and upward. That brings us to number 10 on our agenda, I believe, and I'll turn it over again to Ms. Myers.
Yes.
I think another great situation.
Exactly. I'd like to bring motion number 17, that the board award a one-year probationary NEA contract to the following staff for the 2024-25 school year as presented. Ashley Martin Borgi, 1 FTE elementary teacher, Cody Vargo, a 0.5 FTE elementary PE teacher, and Cheyenne McKay, a 1 FTE social worker.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer and supported by Mr. Mazurek. Mr. Sumner, some introduction of these fine candidates.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, President Wilson. So we'll start with Ashley Martin Borgi. And Dr. Weber kind of alluded to the nice job that she did this morning during opening day. In fact, both her and Cody Vargo, who couldn't be here with us this evening, they were 2 of the 5 on stage, ironically. And I marveled at all of them because I thought as a new teacher, I would be scared to death to be up there, but they did a great job. So in terms of Ashley, she is an NHS graduate, and she has shared her excitement about returning, quote unquote, home to further contribute to the Northville community. A graduate of University of Michigan, she just finished her first year of teaching in a first grade classroom at one of the local National Heritage Academy schools. Her references spoke about her enthusiasm and her dedication in the classroom, noted her reflective nature and just desire for continuous growth. Talked about how she asks a lot of questions in a very healthy manner just to learn and to grow. Our interview team was obviously impressed with her passion and the pathway that she took toward a career in teaching. She shared this morning that she served in a number of voluntary roles working with students, including those with special needs and elementary students in Detroit. And so we're real excited to recommend Ashley Martin Borgi for a teaching position here in Northville Public Schools. And then Cody Vargo. Cody Vargo comes to us with a unique pathway. And by the way, this is for a 0.5 elementary physical education teacher. So Cody shared this as well this morning with the district, but he has a bachelor's of science in exercise science from Adrian College, and then a master's of kinesiology, exercise and sports science from Wayne State University. He served as a strength and conditioning coach from both Lawrence Tech and more recently Wayne State University. Cody's energy and enthusiasm just absolutely resonated with our interview team. And that same energy and enthusiasm is something that we think will resonate with our students as well. Cody's references spoke to his positivity, his communication, and just his overall personable nature. And they've observed in his relationships, just really solid relationships with student athletes in his past work. They had no doubt that same disposition would be extended to our students here in Northville. And so we'd be excited to recommend Cody Vargo this evening. And then lastly, for a school social work position, which is a product of a resignation from earlier this summer, Cheyenne McKay, who also couldn't be with us this evening. And she's actually finishing up with her current employer, but she's been serving young people through clinical practice and more recently home-based therapy. One of the many characteristics that stood out from both her interview as well as her reference checks is the advocacy that she provides for children in her role as a social worker. And right now she is in the private sector. She is passionate about such advocacy, and her track record demonstrates the therapy and overall rapport that she's developed with young people throughout her career and its impact. Cheyenne completed her Bachelor of Science degree at Central Michigan University and then her Master of Social Work at Wayne State. Her current supervisor indicated, quote, "Hands down, she is one of my top performers," end quote. He went on to describe the big loss she will be to the agency and that we'd be very fortunate to have Cheyenne here in Northville Public Schools. Our interview team obviously walked away equally impressed and feel similarly that she'd be a great addition to our team here in Northville. So this evening, on behalf of the Central Office Administrative Team, I'd recommend that the Board of Education approve probationary teacher contracts for Cody Vargo, Ashley Martin Borgi, as well as an ancillary employee contract for Cheyenne McKay, each for the 24-25 school year. Obviously, you can refer to the supporting reference documents that have been included in your board package this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Great candidates as always. Really appreciate it. A lot to say here. I mean, I love these introductions to candidates. This is actually one of my favorite parts of being in the seats that we get to sit in. And I love hearing about these teachers or social workers and phys ed teachers and the energy and positivity, enthusiasm. I sometimes get jealous thinking I'd love to be in the classroom and be a kid again with some of these teachers. But
great.
Ms. Martin Borgi, I mean, go blue. It's awesome to see Northville kids coming back to teach here.
Yeah.
We've seen several of those. I don't have a number, but that is such an awesome dynamic and thing to see. I love that. So, again, you know where I'm leaning on these, but any other questions, comments?
Well, I just wanted to say that it's Tuesday. school starts next Tuesday, so how grateful are we to get these candidates and they're going to hit the ground running. So thank you. And, I know Dr. Webb would agree. Take a breath and take care of yourself as you go on, begin this journey, and we've got your back.
Anything else? All right. All those in favor of making this official? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Welcome aboard. All right. Congratulations to you three. That brings us to number 11 on our agenda, MASB certification of delegates and alternates.
President Wilson, if I may have a moment. So Brian and Rebecca also have been doing kind of micro job fairs. One was yesterday. And to Karen's point, and Karen knows because she's an educator, like this time of year, there are certain vacancies that are more difficult to fill. And when you fill them, there's a sigh of relief, not because it's more work, but because our kids need these people. And they put together a hiring fair yesterday for paraprofessionals, as well as early childhood maybe. And I stopped down, and what I heard was really wonderful that you found candidates in that. So thank you for that. What Karen just said just kind of triggered that piece that sometimes we have to use non-traditional ways in order to find people. So I don't know if either of you want to just talk about that a little.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Weber. Yes, and actually, JD Keefe and Molly Garcia were instrumental in helping with that, as well as our early childhood leadership and staff. And so we had, I think we had about 10 people come through, which doesn't sound like a lot, but actually we hit the jackpot. So far we've successfully hired 3 candidates as paraprofessionals. We've got a couple others that are kind of in the hopper, hoping that those pull through. But we walked into yesterday with 5 paraprofessional vacancies, filled 3 of them, and like I say, the other 2 are pending. Unfortunately, we did have another resignation today, so we're hopeful of filling that. But yeah, things like that we have to do, and certainly it was productive and fruitful.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you for that update.
Thank you.
It's good to hear stealing some of those ideas from Mr. Baydoun, setting up job fairs, and I love that stuff. And I know you saw him recently.
I did, and he did say to me if I knew any candidates, and I said, if I did, I'm not going to tell you about them.
Meyer. Come on now.
All right.
On that note, I'll bring forward
That's right.
motion 18, that the individuals listed below be selected to represent Northville Public Schools at the 2024 Michigan Association of School Boards Delegate Assembly at the Lansing Center on Thursday, October 24th at 7 p.m. in the event that individual board members are able to attend as presented. I believe, should I just say, because I know who we talked about. Oh, okay. I think it's myself, Melissa Stewart, and Kim Campbell-Voitel.
And trustee Prescott.
And the
rest of us are alternates, yep.
All right, support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer and supported by Ms. McIntyre. Any discussion, questions?
I think maybe I should add that based on our district student membership, we are entitled to 4 voting delegates.
I gotcha. All right, any questions? We discussed this last week, picked our delegates and alternates. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations, delegates and alternates.
Would you like me to read Dr. Campbell-Voitel's pieces as well for the next motions, or did you want to read those?
Doesn't matter.
Because you're in the finance.
You know what, take it away, why not?
Okay, I'd like to bring forward motion 19, that the board adopt the 2024 annual summer tax resolution as presented.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer and supported by Mr. Mazurik. Any introduction to this? This is a usual annual item, I know. Many of us are probably familiar with it, but maybe just a brief comment on this, if possible. Mr. off, it's like often. He's already.
I'm sorry.
I'm guessing.
No, this is,
Yeah.
but I'll just say this. This is standard. We do this every
Yeah.
single year. We collect our school taxes, 50% summer, 50% in the winter. This has been going on for a decade, and really, it's legally, we have to take this resolution every single year to reaffirm it. So all we're doing is reaffirming a standard practice that has been going on for a decade.
All right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. We just have to do this in order to collect our 50% summer taxes, so.
Okay.
very-
Good thing you both aren't leaving at once.
We want
I know,
to,
right?
we want to collect that. I could have jumped in. I didn't know. I didn't want to steal Mike's thunder for his last official meeting with us.
All right, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, summer tax resolution passes. That brings us to number 13. Should we stick on a roll here? Ms. Meyer, please?
Yes, I'd like to bring forward motion 20, that the board adopt a resolution in support of the settlement agreement according to Altea Group, the Inc. vaping litigation as presented.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer and supported by Ms. McIntyre. Fair amount of information, a lot of information in our board packets, a lot of back and forth and questions and answers up through today. You know, my question is, with three of us gone, Sarah had questions about this. An open question whether we, do folks have enough info in front of them and kind of understand what's going on with this?
I don't know that we necessarily have to hold off on this one. I mean, Sarah had questions. We got our legal Troon to kind of respond to it. We got the answers, provided to all of us, assuming we reread them and that. To be honest, not being a lawyer, I wasn't fully understanding of some of the nuances, but, we did sign a resolution a year ago, or I don't know when it was. But
January of 23.
Yeah, okay, so it's, to kind of authorize us to go into this piece of it. So, and I think Troon answered all the other questions. I mean, I wish it was more money. I wish we weren't paying legal fees, but, hey, I was expecting nothing out of this. So getting $7,600, $7,700, I can't remember the final piece, is, better than nothing. And we can, funnel this into our system to do something good for our students.
All right.
I think if nothing else, then also it just demonstrates responsibility on their end as vaping continues to be an issue with adolescents
Right.
and acknowledging that. So I agree with you, it's not a large settlement, but perhaps it's more of a moral victory.
It made me wonder when I saw the e-blast information about social media and about the insulin piece, but more the social media, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Is there another mass action lawsuit that is also something that, I don't know if we would be interested in joining that, but one of the emails referenced that. I don't know if that's something that the team knows about or.
There may be some other defendants in this particular case too, some other companies. 'Cause,
Okay.
Juul was the initial company that actually did a settlement prior to our involvement in this mass case. So, but there are some other defendants, so there could potentially be some additional settlements that would come our way.
Okay, so settling with this doesn't stop us from
No.
also being a part of those other.
No, all it does is, in this case, Altria cannot come back, or we cannot go back to them and say,
Okay.
hey, we want some more, or, there is.
But
once we
Breeze or any of those
Mhm.
other,
it's-
okay.
yeah.
And what I learned in interfacing with Troon is the difference between mass and class action. I didn't know that was a thing on there. And one of the notes that the dispensation we had from Troon, that of the 136 Troon clients in this litigation, they're not aware of any that have rejected the Altria settlement. And to Karen's point, this is a mechanism and a way to hurt our kids.
Mhm.
And flavoring things and things like that. And I'm with Jim. I wish there was more money coming from it, but if we can make it painful for these people to do these things to our kids, then all for it.
I think Troon explained it pretty well. The one question was about, well, if we don't sign this, what happens, right? We could then, run our own private lawsuit against them. But then the problem is you need to dig up lots of data and prove what were the effects were. It's,
Talk about legal fees.
it is not something that we're expertise on, and we're able to dig that it would take a lot of effort, and I'm not sure, with the effort you put in versus what you get out of it, what the value add would be. So I'm kind of like I said, Dr. Weber, I'd love it to be more, but it's better because I was expecting 0.
Did all of I was noticing there's the documentation on the Altria School District allocation approach. Was there like a summary of, is this basically what they're offering as a settlement to each district? Does it depend on district size?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw our settlement statement.
Okay.
And they specifically called out how much Clamps, who is the lead attorney representing the school districts, how much they're getting, and then how much Trude is getting as kind of they kind of partnered with France. So we have a settlement statement for ourselves, but I cannot see how the settlements range between other school districts, because again, it's a national.
Right.
Yeah.
It's either an equal amount to all schools, or they probably did it by student count, but it's not going to be widely varied other than that.
Yeah. Something like that. We'll rate it.
Okay.
All right. Great job to the team seeing this through and getting us the information and answering questions over the course of the last several days. And I think this is the kind of thing that we should, think hard and fast about getting involved in, right? For the principle, the statement, the moral sort of victory and the statements that these make. So everybody comfortable voting?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So that resolution passes. Thank you for that. And that brings us to number 14. Our second and final opportunity for public comment tonight. I do not have any cards in front of me. Going once, going twice. All right, that closes our public comment for the night, bringing us to 15 questions, comments from board members. What do we have? Anybody?
Oh, I had a couple things. This came out a bit ago, I think from the district, and I just wanted to highlight it. Again, the state is providing free lunch and breakfast, which is really great that we can make sure all our kids get meals, and sometimes it's just a convenience factor so that you don't have to worry about getting your kid a lunch as they're running out to the bus or running out to the school. So I'm really glad to see that, but I just really wanted to highlight the fact that if you believe that you would qualify for free or reduced lunch, that you please fill out those forms, because that's an imperative part in terms of the program being successful. So I just wanted to say thank you for putting that out there, and I hope that there continue to be a lot of people who fill out that form. I know it seems kind of odd since it's not immediately paired with that, but it's still very important for our district and programming that we can provide to students.
There's definite benefit to not only the district, but to the individual families who may qualify for free and reduced lunch under regular circumstances. So it really does benefit those families to go ahead and fill out the application. There's discounted, fees that would typically charge by the district for to participate, for some test fees, things of that nature that are discounted for those particular families who are free and reduced. So it really, hopefully, and from a district perspective, our Title I funding to a large extent is determined by our free and reduced so it benefits everybody to go ahead and do that. Even if they feel they may or may not, if they're not certain, go ahead and submit the application.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for elaborating on those points about how it benefits families and the schools. And another thing I wanted to highlight was that the League of Women Voters is hosting a candidate forum on September 12th at 7 p.m. for our school board candidates. It's very important. I think we have a very invested community, as everyone knows, in what is going on in our school board, and just hope that people can mark that down. It's going to be here before we know it, so that we can really get to know the candidates better. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. I'm not quite sure where it's being hosted. Does anyone?
Right here.
Oh, right here. Well, there you go. Right here in 2 weeks from Thursday.
Yeah. All right. Along those lines, I want to acknowledge another arrival here later tonight. Another candidate for the board, Meredith Maurer. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
All right. Just want to acknowledge you, and we'll do that every meeting to the extent I remember, and if I don't, remind me. Any other questions, comments from board members? Yeah.
I wanted to just double tap on the cell or the phone away for the day, or the personal, let's see, it feels like it's a mouthful every time I say it, personal wireless device away for the day, K through 8 policy. I really liked how that was framed in the letter that was sent out to families, that we're really also looking for support from parents around this conversation. That yes, we can implement a policy, and we will do that with as much fidelity as we can. The other piece is parental support, right? To have those conversations at home with our kids to say, you're going to need to leave that smartwatch or your phone powered off and in your backpack all day. My son likes his smartwatch, and he told me, okay, now you can get me a Timex. I'm like, perfect. That'll be great. So I think just, it is a partnership between the schools and families to be successful in this, that we know there will be benefits to mental health and focus and learning and all of those things. So looking forward to seeing how that rolls out. And
I agree, Lisa. That's a great comment. I remember when we talked about this earlier in the year, we talked about, parents really said we should go do this, right? Mm-hmm. And I realize that as by adopting as a board policy, we are giving parents a little bit of a backup. But at the end of the day, parents have to be the ones that step up, right? They have to be the ones that say, no, I'm not buying you the phone. No, I'm not going to buy you the watch. And all we're doing is kind of, providing the support. And I know when we had those debates, we told the parents, we asked the parents to, at least 50% or maybe more of it, please step up the plate and do your part to support us. So I think it's a great comment.
Thank you. I'd really like to see the PTAs start that wait until 8th resolution, or to join that that group. It's a national group. It would be great to have all the elementary PTAs and also the middle schools just encourage their members to sign up for the wait until 8th. That I think it could really build some momentum in the community, to your point, for parents to delay buying a smartphone. I mean, everybody has their choice of what they do outside of school. Totally get that. But I think it does offer some additional support. And the more families that say, no, my kid doesn't have a smartphone, there's just some power in those numbers.
All right, good questions, comments. Thank you. Well, that brings us to number 16.
Just one more comment. We don't have a board meeting next week because it's the kickoff of school, right? The following week, I will be out of town, so I will not be here. So I'm going to let you know I will not be here 2 weeks from now when we have our next board meeting, or committee of the whole. I guess I'm not sure which one it is, but
the 10th.
That'll be the 17th.
The 10th is the next board meeting. And
okay, so that'll be the 10th. That'll be the one I'll miss, yeah.
Oh, you're missing the 10th. Okay.
Okay. Well, that brings us to number 16, which is interesting. Maybe can I get a little help on this one? If we even can we actually?
Yeah, there's a quorum. I think at 4 we can do this. We can't.
You have to have it 2/3 to go into closed session.
Okay.
And I don't think we're comfortable or even able to talk too much about it tonight. Now,
are there any risk factors of punting this to the 10th?
No, we just have to, I just have to work out some details to see if I can make that happen on the 10th. Right now, it's not immediately available, but I think we're all working on some stuff in the background right now to make that happen on the 10th.
Okay.
All right, well,
Please express
on that.
Do we have to move to drop this from the agenda?
No, I'm going to just strike it out and say.
Just strike it, okay.
Take this motion at the next
Okay.
meeting.
And Ms. Peck, please express my regrets to council. I know he was coming a long way.
Okay, that is unfortunate, but appreciate the flexibility, and yeah, we will be thankful for that when we see council.
Okay.
That brings us to number 17, added agenda items. Ms. Irving, do we have any? All right, anybody else? All right, well.
I look forward to next week and the opening of another school year to success.
It was such a great kickoff. I missed the first song, but I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally Dr. Weber. It was great. I felt like I was at a rock concert. It was awesome. I wasn't sure if you were going to be playing the guitar or not. That would really, I'm just offering ideas for next year.
And Rebecca, keep up the effort on the school kids at that. It's great that you and Mike are offering our new chief financial officer $1 million benefit that he walks into.
That is true.
For real.
Great. It'll be a great way to start his career at Northville.
All right, good meeting, short and to the point. Let's call us adjourned at 7:37. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.